Ramadan is very important for us, especially for Indonesia, because it's the moment where we connect. After 11 months, we are not connecting with our family. Ramadan is, family gathering, friend also gathering. So let's start the discussion with the opening question. Let's start with you. From your point of view, how important is building the engagement with the communities or with the consumer?
From TikTok perspective, I mean, meaningful engagement, we say it's not about posting content on TikTok. It is about creating that genuine connection with the community. What we see is, we see the rise in video views, video created right from suhoor to iftar. In fact, TikTok becomes their companion throughout Ramadan period. We see content posted or viewed from, I would say, late night to early night to late night. For brands, it becomes very crucial to be authentic during that time as their approach, because TikTok users value real and relevant content, which signifies the spirit of Ramadan. To share an example, it is sharing a heartfelt stories. It is about creating fun challenges. It is about uplifting the mood of Ramadan. In either way, authenticity is very, very important. Now, the brands can also be authentic in terms of having the conversation relevant, the moments, identifying the moments in the matter of Ramadan, talking about how can they build more deeper association with the users. Such approach can foster a stronger relationship of the brand with the user, and it leads to a longer lasting relationship, not only through Ramadan, I think beyond Ramadan as well.
Nice. How about you, Hilda?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, this Ramadan is definitely very exciting for us. This is our first Ramadan together with TikTok. So it's also our second campaign together with TikTok as well. So I think as a marketplace, both Tokopedia or Shop, Tokopedia is a new name, we connect sellers and buyers. So we have two communities, so sellers and buyers. In Ramadan, basically, those two communities, they want basically different things but connected with each other. So sellers want to experience more growth, buyer wants to experience bigger assortment, more selections. So for us, Ramadan is basically, we have like three key pillars. One is the seller partnership, two is the improved product experience, and the third is the whole buyer excitement. So in terms of the seller partnership, so first and foremost, to prepare for Ramadan, we have to make sure that we also partner closely with the sellers, with brands like Jonn, for example, and many other brands that's selling in Tokopedia to give like the best curation, the best promotions and all that, so that they can also experience more growth. And then we also improve the whole product experience. So just before Ramadan, we have this new channels. I said like channels within the app. So we have this mumpung murah, murah mantap, all those things, so that it helps the discoverability of good deals for the buyers, so that the buyers can discover good deals easily, and the sellers who are giving good good price points can also be rewarded of those the price competitiveness that they're giving to the buyers. So the buyers will find it more enjoyable to shop because they can find the deals easily. And specific for Ramadan, we also add some more, as I mentioned earlier, basically buyers want bigger assortment, more deals. There are many kinds of what we call like maybe Ramadan gimmick. To entice the buyers to come to the platform. So there's THR extra, cashback, direct discount, all those kinds of deals. So hopefully all those three things are sort of like working in a loop, so that the buyers can get more sticky into the platform. The brands, the sellers can also experience more growth. And because this is the second campaign, we hope that it can also repeat the good success that we did on the first campaign that we did together with TikTok, which is the Beli Lokal campaign that we did in 12/12 all the way to beginning of February. We see 90% of the sellers, the SMBs surveyed, showing an increase in their performance, the shop performance within the app because of the Beli Lokal campaign. And I think almost like 97%, so almost all of them expect double the traffic with the partnership between Tokopedia and TikTok. So it's an exciting Ramadan for us this year.
So Beli Lokal is part of your engagement to the communities?
Yes, yes.
Okay, how about you, Jonn?
So this is my second Ramadan. So I recently moved to Indonesia, not so recent now, right? But although it is my second Ramadan, I think in PNG, however, we always talked about brand and building brands. We always put a principle that we call as consumer is boss, right? And for us, what does that mean, right? Especially in the season of Ramadan, wherein everyone is changing, right? In terms of their habits. So some people fast, some people will go home, right? Some people will spend a different number of hours on media and all of these things. I think the first thing, and whenever we build these kinds of relationship, the question should never be, what is my Ramadan campaign, right? Or should I be building a Ramadan campaign to start with, right? The question should be always, from your consumer today, or whoever your brand is serving, how does it change with Ramadan in context, right? And then you look at then something like what Jonn is saying, something very authentic and very real to the consumer versus trying to push down your brand in. When you look at the values of Ramadan, it's very different from each one. And now, this is my second Ramadan. As I talk to more and more people here in Indonesia, although everybody knows it's a holy season, for a lot of people, it's much more than that, right? So for some people, it is a time to cleanse. For some people, it is a time to meet more family and all. And then that's where you start seeing, can my brand enter into this different moments? Sometimes, as a brand, and I'll tell you, I work on different brands in PNG. Sometimes as a brand, we would say, we're not going to create a Ramadan campaign this year, right? But it's okay because then we then look at how does our brand fit in, and then maybe we change our media strategy. Maybe we change a bit of our promotion or distribute to a different lens. And then sometimes also when we have a good plan, a good idea, we go and say, how can we be that authentic brand, not changing who we are for 11 out of 12 months in a year, but how do we actually talk to them in this season, right? And that's how I think we can build a long-lasting relationship. Don't change who you are as a brand. Never also start with saying, I need a Ramadan campaign, right? Start with consumer is boss and then see how your brand should flow through. That's how we usually build a long-lasting relationship with our consumers.
Okay, Jonn, following up on that point, as you mentioned that PNG is a multinational brand, and then Ramadan is very local. Do you find something difficulties when you are bringing multinational into local ones?
Yeah. In all fairness, how we've always talked in Procter & Gamble is it always starts with the local consumer insight, right? So as a head of marketing in Indonesia, my goal and my job is actually to bring this local insights of an Indonesian consumer all the way to the region. So what is authentically true about these brands is the brand equities will not change. So how you will see, for example, a Gillette brand or a Downy brand or a Pantene brand here in the Philippines or in the US always stands for the same things. But how we have communicated to our consumers, whether on packaging, on communications, in this case, right, things like even TikTok, etc., is not present in different parts of the world. But how we actually want to talk is how the Indonesian consumers will be adapting, right? And that is where local insights and local consumer understanding is put at the forefront. And you will see this less and less. We don't air copies in dub, right? We actually air something that is made for Indonesia. You look at the talent, it looks like Indonesian. It speaks in Bahasa, and then we go at it, right? So that's how we approach our campaigns here.
Thank you. Now, my second question, move on to Hilda. As your role in Tokopedia, and then, as you mentioned, Tokopedia has a lot of communities from buyers, also from sellers. For specific Ramadan, do you have like one single message across all, or how you develop the communication to engage with the communities?
So we have different ways to look at our audience segment. The first one is based on the propensity of their behavior towards the platform. So that's based on whether they are active buyers, whether they are dormant buyers, within dormant, whether they were, log in but never purchase, or visit but never log in and never purchase. All those things, and then all the way to whether they are like completely new buyers. So based on their propensity to the platform, then we adjust the messaging accordingly based on the overarching platform benefit that we are offering during Ramadan campaign. So for example, it can be differing in terms of the logistic offers, like the shipping promotions, or the payment types of promotions and all that. If there are inactive buyers, then all this, we discussed earlier, I think I was here on the previous sessions, you were discussing about AI and all that. If they're active buyers, then the whole AI machine learning will then kick in order to offer them the product that they were initially, looking, like checking out in Tokopedia, right? So that the chance of conversion within Tokopedia during Ramadan is even bigger. So that's on the performance side. On the, the storytelling, on the branding side, I think the way I see it, social media is very, very key, as a key ground of experimentation, like the key battleground for us to check on what types of messaging that is clicking. And we always use social media as a means to check many different styles, many different tactics of contents and all that within the a specific set of brand guidelines, so that it won't look very chaotic. So that's how we sort of like communicate. So it depends on the user behavior towards the platform, their actual purchase behavior, and then we target them accordingly. And then in terms of the content styling, then we always experiment accordingly. I think one of the quite a fun example was in December last year. So one of the experiment that the team was trying to bet on is this partnership with this virtual creator called Kobo Kaneru. To be honest, when they presented I want to experiment with this Kobo Kaneru, and never heard about Kobo Kaneru ever in my life, like never heard, ever. But maybe I'm too old. So I was just telling them, okay, I trust you, maybe I'm too old. Because they said, it's very big on TikTok, very big on Gen Z. Yeah, I'm obviously not a Gen Z, so maybe I'm too old. But I trust you, let's just do it. And then it came as a surprise for us, right? Like listening, like talking the way, like the previous session also talk about the whole talking, relating with Gen Z. That particular stunt, partnering with the virtual creator called Kobo Kaneru and a comedic musician, composer called Hakim, was like it blew up in TikTok. It translates well in Instagram, translates well in X, and even someone asked for a 1 hour loop of that 1 minute jingle in YouTube, and it got like 1.1 million views without any ads. And if you check on TikTok, you check on Tokopedia, you see a lot of UGC without us doing any UGC competition. So it's the whole point of keep on experimenting on different style, because different audience may have something that connects with them differently, and maybe you as the marketer you don't know, because maybe you're not belonging to the age group or something else. So it's experimentation is key in order to connect with the right message. Yeah.
Okay, Xavier, since Hilda said about the social media, it's very important to see the behavior changes from platform perspective. Is there any noticeable behavior change during the Ramadan?
Oh yes. Just to add some stats to it, on TikTok, to show how big the Ramadan is, what we see is close to 700 million videos created, close to approx 1.3 trillion views that we see on a platform during Ramadan. What we typically see is user love to create or influence trend, just like Wes Anderson Ramadan aesthetics, or used filters, which is, let's say, Modic three-wheelers, or look for inspirational videos, looking for recipes, or creating with the content creators. Just to show an example, like during Sur, we see an increase of 96% in terms of video views. Close to 84% videos get created. So it says that not only people like to look videos, but they also love to create videos. And usually the examples during Suhoor are, they are the entertainment ones, serious ones, or motivational affirmations, which is how to face during Pausa. Post-Lebaran that we see is, users celebrate even 1 to 3 weeks of extended 1 to 3 weeks till the actual Eid. In terms of behavior pattern, we see they buy things for themselves or the loved ones. And the path to purchase has always been shop Tokopedia for us.
Nice. Okay, so we are near the end of our session. So I have last question. I'll start with you, Xavier. So we talk about the insight. We talk about the changes behavior. Do you mind sharing what the campaign example that you've done during the Ramadan, and also if we need to adjust something because Ramadan is right in the corner, what would be your input for all the marketers here?
I'll show you an example that we did with for a Mediacom client, Coca-Cola. For one of their brands, Fristi, last year during Ramadan, we launched Fristi Nusantara, which is during Ramadan, and it's for a tea category which was little declining. We collaborated with Griffey and to do an online to offline campaign. With Griffey-enabled technologies, we came out with mobile notifications, engaging gaming formats, or moment-based targeting. We saw an amazing result, close to 664 million impressions, 60% conversion rate, and also 558K sampling been redeemed. The takeaway here is the strong partnership that we had with the tech, data-driven insights, engaging innovative format on mobile, which kept the users engaged. And we saw the brand love or brand growth driving crazy during that time.
And from Jonn, from PNG.
Yeah, I won't share the full one because the brainchild of whatever this Downy example is here, and he will be sharing after me. But just one example, right? For Downy last year, we had this new variant called Pashmina Rose, and it was actually launched during the Ramadan season. We had this campaign called Pasti Harum Tahan Lama, right? And now with the beauty of platforms like TikTok, we are not then held up with saying, one TV commercial, let's announce, right? Then we looked at different insights and then we called it micro moments of Ramadan. One of it, as an example, is a lot of us actually have household help as part of our ecosystem here in Indonesia. And a lot of them actually go home during this season, right? Like in our office, for example, there's a lot of daycare, right? And then you need to ensure that your household chores are all there and all, right? So we actually found one moment like that for Downy as an example to go and say, how can you actually wash and ask your help to wash all of your clothes, but still make it look and smell like new, right? Newly washed when she was gone for like 1-2 weeks out, right? And it was actually a very good opportunity because for Downy, we want to say we're a fabric enhancer that gives you long-lasting freshness. So it was actually a perfect entry point as one example. And then we can explode it in platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and all, and go very, very targeted about it. That's one example. And we went through different routes into it. We got a lot of views, but more than that, we actually saw a lot of consumers, both users and non-users, started engaging with the brand, right? And for me, that is one side of success, right? Because then they start talking about a category that supposedly is not being talked during a Ramadan season, right? Fabric enhancers is definitely not something you would think about. Just to answer your other question on what's the advice, because Ramadan is around the corner. First is don't panic if you don't have anything just about yet, but just make sure that you stay true and authentic to your brand. Don't change your brand just because there's a Ramadan season. Find a way that you can enter. If not, then you see, right, how consumers are using you during this time.
How about Hilda?
I think these two gentlemen have shared what Ramadan is around the corner. I think what I want to add is, moving forward, I think there's always seasonality within the business. I think personally, I always use the sort of like the low season for us to experiment on content, on media, on audience, on everything. So that when it actually the key moments, then we have the winning composition. It's just like the experimentation mode in the sort of like low season type, yeah.
Okay, so Thank you. But to sum up, I think what I learned from this session is that building relationship is not only about the Ramadan. So we need to start the engagement even before Ramadan. So it will be easy to create the connection. And genuinity and authenticity also important. And last but not least, see the trend and embrace the technology. I think, thank you.